Hello, Santi. How are you? You are alone in this class. We're going to wait for more students. How are you? Are you ready for your B2 class? Nice. Hi, BGQ15. How are you? We're going to wait for more students, okay? And in 1 or 2 minutes, we start the class. Where are you from? Hi, Bejarel 81. Where are you from, guys? In which city do you live? Wow, nice, Toledo. Near me, I'm from Valdepeñas. It's a little town in Ciudad Real. But I know Toledo. It's a nice place to live and to stay for a weekend. Okay, so I'm going to start. Okay, I introduce myself. I'm Cristina, and an English teacher, and we're going to talk about tips that you can use in your Cambridge exam, in B2 exam, okay? Yeah, it's relaxing. I'm going to start with the speaking part to understand how Cambridge examinates you, guys, okay? So first, you should know that there is 4 speaking parts. So we have part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. Hi, Eva. The full exam normally is about 15 minutes, okay? And you will do 2 parts individually and 2 parts with a partner, okay? Normally you try to stay next to your best friend or someone that you have a good relationship, okay? It's better to do this type of exams. Hi, Isa. Hi, Martina. Hi, everybody. Let's go. You are on time. Hi, Cultura Lactes. Nice to see you here. Okay, so as I told you before, there are 4 parts in your speaking test. Don't be worried, don't be nervous. I think you can do your best in this exam because B1 and B2 are exams very easy, okay? You don't need to waste, well, not waste, you don't need to spend a lot of time studying just to know grammar, use of English, vocabulary, and speak fluently English, okay? You will go to the class and you are going to see 2 people, okay? Yeah, I think so. C1 is the worst. C1 is worse. Okay, Robertito, we will see. Okay, so you will go to a class and you are going to see 2 people. One is the examiner. We are going to call him or her the examinator, okay, like Terminator, and another person that is a teacher that is going to listen to your answers, okay? But you need to speak English in front of the examinator. You should say hello, good morning or good afternoon, and when you go out to the exam, you say bye bye or see you next time. This type of things. So you need to be kind and be honest. Sorry, be kind and be polite. Okay. Uh, let's go. Let's roll the ball. We start with part number 1. I think is the easiest one. The candidate will give personal information to the examinator, okay? Uh, what kind of questions are in this part? Well, you have three topics that are very common in these type of exams. One is about the media, the other one is about likes and dislikes, and other maybe special occasions, okay? So for example, they can ask you, do you like learning languages, or what do you do at the weekends? So you need to answer these questions, but not short answers. You need to try to answer these questions with yes or no, and then a reason, okay? For example, if they ask you, do you like learning languages? Don't say only yes or no. Try to say, for example, yes, I do. I love learning languages. I like being abroad and speak Italian, French, okay? What you need is to tell the examiner what he or she wants to know, but with a long answer, not short. This is my first tip. I think it's easy to understand. What do you think? Do you think part number 1 is good? I think so. Hi, Mario. Why are you laughing? Hianin Round Rusu? I'm very nervous today. I don't know why. Now, in my opinion, part number 1 is easy. Now we go to part number 2. I think it's a little bit hard because in part number 1 you feel comfortable with the conversation with your examinator and everything is going to be good. But what's happening in part number 2? In part number 2, normally for my students, part number 2 is a disaster because you have to look at 2 photos and talk about more or less 1 minute. But not only talk about what you can see in the photos, also you need to compare the photos. So I have the material here and I'm going to show you what kind of photos that you are going to find in this part. So look, the examiner is going to give you 2 photos like this, okay? Can you see? There is a grandpa with a child, and again a grandpa with another child, the grandchild, okay? So you need to compare these 2 photos, both photos, okay? And then you have a question that is going to be for the other candidate, okay? The other candidate needs to answer this question. So tips that you need to know about this part number 2. If you talk about similarities, you should say both pictures show, and you talk about a grandpa with his grandchild, okay? If you talk about differences, you should say in the first picture I can see, whereas in the second picture I can see. So you will compare the 2 photos in 1 minute. Don't stop talking. This is the worst part because when we are speaking English, sometimes we try to think in Spanish. I do sometimes, and it's worse. I'm sorry, it's worse. I tell you now because when I try to think in Spanish and translate into English, problems, always problems, okay? So you need to compare the photos, try to have a range of vocabulary, and try to make sentences that make sense, okay? Now, if you use this vocabulary and you make these sentences, also you need to speculate about the photos, okay? So perhaps both photos show blah blah blah, okay? I think you understand part number 2. What do you think about part number 2? Let me know, okay? It's important to give reasons for your opinions, okay? Always. Don't say yes because yes. No, that's Spanish. Hi, everybody. Wow, there are a lot of students. Not now? Yes? Okay. So then, we have part number 3. Candidates are giving a lot of pictures and they need to talk together as a discussion. Okay, I will show you one of these parts. This is part number 3. You are going to see something like this. Okay, this is about history museum, and you have attracting visits. Okay, so you need to talk, discuss with your partner what is the best way. Okay, for example, how might be the proposals appeal to different people, or which two will be the most successful in attracting visitors. So you have rooms in the museum and you need to choose one or two and be and discuss with your partner. Okay, so this is a good part because well, you need a range of vocabulary too. At the end of the task, you need to be agree with one of these with your partner. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you, well, we're going to do an exercise together. I have here on my computer. So the exercise is, what do you know with if you know the similar meaning of these adjectives, okay? So we have the adjective interesting. Can you tell me one similar adjective? But don't tell me again, interesting. I'm going to tell you absorbing, attractive, fascinating, okay? Then we have, for example, boring, tedious, dull, and the good, fine, acceptable. So don't try to use the same words every time, okay? If you are nervous, you are going to use the same words like me right now. But when you are not nervous, you will do your best. I think so, and you will talk to your partner. You will discuss with your partner, and you will do everything correct. I'm sure. Okay. So now you look at the photo in part number 3. So we have this, and part number 4 is related to part number 3 because the examinator is going to ask you about questions related to part number 3. For example, if you can see in part number 3 things about the museum, part number 4 is going to be about the museums. If you like going to the museums, if you what kind of museums do you have in your city, if you think is interesting or not, why, okay? So this type of questions you need to answer as fully as possible. And I think part number 4 could be a little bit hard because the examinator is going to look at you and wait for a long answer, not short. So it's time that you prepare your grammar, you prepare your vocabulary, you prepare everything, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about my experience because I took this exam in Dublin, in Ireland, when I was young. I'm young now, but when I was young. It was easy, the exam. I remember that part number 1, I was a little bit nervous because I paid a lot of money for this exam. and it's not cheap, and I wanted to do my best for this exam. So part number one, I was really nervous, and they asked me about I don't remember, but they asked me something that I didn't know how I could answer. Part number two was really good because it was about, I think I have one, was something like this, more or less. This is one example, but for me, yeah. How serious do you think each of the situations looks? Okay. Part number three and part number four, it was really nice because I did with a Brazilian girl. She is my friend, and we studied together in the same academy. So when we did the exam, we did together the exam. She was really nice in her answers, and they asked me, we discussed, so everything was perfect. They told us that it was a good exam, so I'm really happy with my B2 exam. But I remember I was really nervous. If you do an exam and you fail the exam, don't worry, you can try again. Okay, um, it's not bad to fail an exam. Okay, you need to be focused on English, focus on your speaking, try to understand all the questions. Another tip that I can tell you is that if you didn't understand the question, ask the teacher, ask the examiner, ask the examiner again. Sorry, can you repeat the question, please? I couldn't understand. Or, sorry, excuse me. And he or she is going to ask you again the question because they know you are nervous, you pay a lot of money, and you want to pass the exam. So don't be worried about it, okay? Okay, more things. Thanks for watching me. Yeah, we were having a good time, but now it's time to say goodbye. It was a pleasure that you stay with me in front of the camera. I need to remind you that we have more activities online in Cultural Actes, so you need to follow Aula Abierta and Cultural Actes. And we're going to do more things next day. So have a great afternoon, and tell me if you liked this video. You can ask me questions about your exams. If you want to prepare an exam, what do you need for the exam, materials or books, because I'm here to help you. Nice, thank you. Say Paul Sensei. I don't know why I'm very nervous this week. Last week I was better. Are you planning to do an exam? Maybe not this year, because we don't know anything. But what about next year? B1 or B2? Thank you, Vader. FM26. Thanks for following me. I'm really happy to stay here with you. So if you are planning your exam, follow Aula Abierta and you will see more tips. Today was the speaking, next day will be writing maybe, or reading. We will see. Listening, the worst part of the exam for me is the listening, but we will try. So I'm going to say bye-bye and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.